Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Frank, House of Orange TV. The weather's awesome right now. It is football weather. Of course, Tennessee just concluded week one of practice. Practice number 4 was concluded this morning. And got my takeaways on it. Again, I'm not there to see it. We only, I think most of us, we see what the outlets that are there covering it see and kind of go based off their takeaways as well, or based on their reporting on it. So make sure you hit the like, the share, hit that subscribe button. It is free. We'll be live tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time for our weekly Monday night show during football season. So hope to see you there. Week one, again, in the books, practice number 4. Tennessee's off tomorrow, and then they return Tuesday. So we're starting to see some things come to light. And there's a lot we don't know right now. The media, they're only seeing little parts of practice. I wish it was like the NFL where there was a lot of access, but there isn't. And so it is what it is. They see what they see, and it's pretty small increments that they see it too. But right now, let's start with the big one, the quarterback. And what I find interesting is, again, this morning, they said Jake Merklinger is the first one going through drills. And Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider had made the observation, I think it was yesterday, that Merklinger is the one wearing a GoPro, and said it's the same with Arion Carter on defense. What I take from that's really kind of the first I've heard of this, which I'm not surprised by it. But what I kind of take from that is maybe that's kind of your leader of each unit wearing them. So if that's the case, and he said, Aguilar is not, it's been Merklinger. So what does it mean? Maybe it means nothing because, again, the media, they're seeing little parts of it. But I know yesterday the VolQuest media said the day from the quarterbacks was horrendous, but I saw Shumpert put the numbers up, said both guys were 9 out of 11. Looked to me like it was more wide receivers, which I'll talk about wide receivers here in a minute. But I truly think it's a 2-man race right now. I mean, maybe George McIntyre makes it a 3-man race, but it really seems to me like it's Merklinger Aguilar. And I've thought that from the beginning on it. And a part of me still wonders, though, if that veteran presence wins out in the end. But it is pretty interesting, though, that Merklinger is still the first one to go through drills. And again, maybe it means nothing, but it's still an observation that, it is what it is right now. Elsewhere on offense, talk about wide receivers. The wide receivers, Chris Brazel has not practiced. Mike Matthews was out today. Tennessee's down to 5 scholarship receivers in that case. And this is where a lot of people really questioned not hitting the portal harder than they did in the winter or the spring for wide receivers. And, they had guys visit, and then it was said, well, some of these price tags were high. Tennessee didn't want to meet it. In my opinion, I think a lot of you would agree on this because we've talked about it in numerous videos. I feel where they messed up on this was in the winter portal period. There was a lot of good receivers available, and Tennessee they either didn't want to meet the price or they weren't aggressive with them. And I get wanting to play your young guys and wanting to get these freshmen up to speed. But, man, if we get into the season with Boo Carter's status right now uncertain, which I'll talk about that here in just a few minutes, but with Brazel and Matthews, that's, to me, 2 of your top 3 guys coming out. So that puts into motion Braylon Staley. That moves him up to WR1. Your 3 freshmen and Amari Jefferson. That's where you're at. I really think that this is an opinion that I would like to see. And they talk about how well Deson Brame is catching the football. With his size, could he be a matchup out wide at some point? Even Ethan Davis, too. Guys that can move, guys that are big like that. Could you use them possibly? Could you take a Star Thomas, who's the running back transfer from Duke? Very good at catching the ball out of the backfield. Could he run some slot if needed with his catching ability? Because I feel like based on your 5 running backs he may be the best in terms of catching the ball out of the backfield. Tennessee may have to get creative in the sense that you got to plan those injuries can happen, because if they don't move anybody around and Carter is not a part of that wide receiving core, you're down to walk-ons. And you go from there. Weary and Trey Weary, which I've heard good things about him. And then there's Hinton, I think, or Winton from ETSU is a guy who had transferred in last year. I think he's a walk-on, but that's what you're down to at that point. And it remains to be seen. The Matthews thing, though, they said it's day-to-day and they expect he'll be back first of next week. Keep hearing Brazel should be back anytime, and he's not. So apparently he had a cleanup procedure on his knee sometime in the not-too-distant past. So while they waited so long, I don't know, and maybe it's something that just came up then. But that's where that to me is a concern right now. And a couple days in a row, too, we've heard about the wide receivers having bad drops and numerous ones, too. That's a unit. Is it a big concern? No, it's the first week of camp, but it's still something to keep an eye on. Especially when drops were an issue last year. Quarterback play wasn't great either, but there were times where Nico was on the money last year and guys did him no favors. So hopefully, that doesn't rear its ugly head again. Offensive line-wise, the thing that my big takeaway is it seems Sam Pendleton is working a lot at center right now. That was my talk on it. He's going to be in the lineup. Was he going to be the center or the right guard? Because you got Lance Hurd, Wendell Moy Jr. That's your left side. David Sanders Jr., right tackle. That center and right guard depends on Pendleton. He's going to play one of them. The question to me is, do you think it's a better five with Pendleton at center and Sham Umaroff or Jesse Perry at right guard? Or do you feel it's a better five with Pendleton at right guard and William Satterwhite at center? I have high hopes on this offensive line. I think there's a lot of talent here. Will there be growing pains? Absolutely. Probably will be some along the way. But I feel like it's really talented. Maybe the most talented offensive line since they've been here. So we'll see where they go with it. I do have high hopes on that, which leads me to then the running backs. And Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop, they say they're taking care of business. Star Thomas. DeJuan Morris is a guy I hear some about learning. And I saw it today that said DeJuan Morris very well may be your kick returner, possibly even your punt returner. Now, that's going to depend, I think, the punt returner on Boo Carter. But pretty interesting. And they've used running backs a lot the last few years for kickoff returns. Peyton Lewis did it some last year. Cam Seldon had done it. Of course, Cam Seldon transferred to Virginia Tech. But they have used them here the last couple of years. That's offense. That's where we're at. Still questions, but my takeaway is that I think it's interesting. Merklinger's still going first. Again, may mean nothing. Pendleton working more at center, I think, is an interesting one. And maybe that veteran where he's played at Notre Dame. Maybe they want that veteran in to run it. And then I think the one big question mark is the wide receivers, and we thought that going in. There's talent, but how are they going to fit with it? Defense, Jermond McCoy has not been practicing. Of course, we know Boo Carter's status. He is working. He's going through warm-ups, but then he's doing individual stuff. And it was said this week, too, he's visiting Children's Hospital. So he's having to earn his way back. And apparently he did on Tuesday last week address the team. Don't know what was said or anything, but the bottom line for Boo Carter is to put day after day together, earn the trust back of the team, of the coaches, and then he'll be back. When will that be? We don't know. They did not give a timetable on it. So, I mean, his status is uncertain right now. I don't think it's any guarantee. It's up to him, when it happens. Could there be a suspension? Possibly. We don't know. In the meantime, Ricky Gibson, Colton Hood, have been running corners, Jalen McMurray at start. I feel like that's a pretty good lineup. And I stress this. I'll attach the video at the end talking about Colton Hood. I think that was a big pickup in the spring portal, especially with McCoy injured, with Boo Carter's status uncertain as well. But I feel good about the secondary as long as, if you don't get injuries, especially get McCoy back, when you get Boo Carter back, that boosts it. Your safeties, Turrentine, and either Farouk or Beasley is your guy there. So, either one of them, I feel pretty good with that group as well. Again, will there be growing pains? There's a couple young guys back there, possibly, but there's ability. I like that as well. The linebackers, I've said this, they're doing nothing to simmer. Basically, they're doing nothing to put the fire out. Edwin Spillman may be a game changer this year. Loved his ability when we've seen him, whether it's spring practice, a little bit we saw him last year. William Inge is doing nothing to, basically dampen the hype. Arion Carter's going to lead it. T. Lander's going to play a lot. Edwin Spillman, though, I think he might be a game changer on this defense with his ability to run, to hit. He's not afraid of contact because T. Lander is good against the run. But we saw it last year. He and Arion Carter, against the pass, they struggled at times. Now, couldn't they make strides for that? Sure, absolutely with it. Spillman, to me, with his speed and stuff, would be ideal for that. And then, of course, some of your younger guys, too. Jaden Harmon, Jaden Perlotti, possibly Jordan Burns. These are guys. There's a lot of talent in that unit. And a lot of hype is starting to come that this may be a strength of the program. I agree with it. Of course, your defensive line, they're going to do their thing. Was said that Joshua Josephs was out today. Not sure what the deal there. I mean, it's a day-to-day. It's kind of like Mike Matthews. So I would think hopefully he'll be back on Tuesday because, again, they're off tomorrow. I've heard nothing on special teams, but I got to think, we're pretty good there. You've got your returning kickers. Not much to hear on that one. But I still think I'm still going 9-3 on this team. I could see 10-2 with them. I could see, and they always have that one game that makes you scratch your head. I feel the floor is 8-4 with this team. But again, quarterback play is going to be key. And that wide receiver, I think that's something to watch, not only with the injuries, but with the amount of drops. And maybe they're stepping up when the media is not present. But based on what the media has seen the last couple of days, it's not been good with it as well. Keep you posted on any kind of takeaways, anything recruiting-wise this week as well. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Frank, House of Orange, I'll see you when I see you.